Welcome to the program from the National Assembly, House of Representatives. I am Mitaire Ikben. To commemorate 25 years of sustained democracy in the country, the Green Chamber hosted a joint session of the National Assembly with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in attendance. This was quite historic, as the president would usually visit the National Assembly for budget presentation. This time around, it was the first time the president will be in the hallowed chamber for a joint session to commemorate Nigeria's democratic journey. For the first time too, the new national anthem, Nigeria We Hail Thee, was publicly rendered inside the hallowed chambers after the president signed the National Anthem Bill 2024 into law. The joint session of the National Assembly on May 29 was preceded by a special plenary of the House of Representatives where security issues were discussed on the floor of the House.
Pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity, and uphold her honor and glory. So help me God. Approve the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 23rd May 2024.
Mr. Speaker, I'm coming under Order 805 to take this issue of urgent public importance on the issue of banditry affecting my good people at Bakul Danja Federal Consortium of Kaduna State. Thank you.
Any seconder to the first leg?
Mr. Speaker, I rise to the second leg of the motion as moved by my colleague. I so second.
My federal constituency, Bakul Danja Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. The communities have been left in state of fear, desolation. Families have lost their loved ones, their means of livelihood, and their homes. The psychological trauma inflicted on the survivors, particularly those who have lost family members or witnessed the destruction, cannot be overstated. The kidnappings have further excavated a situation with families anxiously waiting for the return of their loved ones. Also note that the escalating issue of banditry that has severely affected the good people of Bakole Danja Federal Constituency in Kaduna State. The recent spate of attacks has resulted in significant loss of lives, destruction of properties, and displacement of residents, thereby necessitating immediate intervention. Details of recent attacks on Saturday, 25th of May 2024, Lamido in Guga Ward, Bakole local government, casualties, 8 individuals were killed, property loss, over 100 cattle and sheep stolen. Gidankare near Lamido, bordering Bakul and Faskadi local governments, casualties, 26 individuals were killed, property loss, all livestock, cattle and sheep stolen, food items, fertilizer looted, remaining items set ablaze, partial destruction of the village, 32 individuals, women and children kidnapped. Gidan Tinjimi Kakuri Road, Bakuru local government. Aware that on Sunday, 26 May 2024, gunmen attacked Ungola Mido, Guga Ward, Bakuru local government at 6:30 p.m. Casualties, 8 individuals were killed. Property loss, over 100 cattle and sheep stolen. Recall that an incident of serious worry that occurred barely 2 months was an attack by kidnappers during the last Salah period in my own hometown. Residents of member of Kaduna State House of Assembly representing Danja constituency, Honorable Shamsuddin Abubakar Dabai, on a Thursday night through early hours of Friday morning, successfully taking away 2 of his brothers and a son, 2 of whom are still in captivity as I speak. Observe that these attacks have left the community in a state of fear and desolation. Families have lost their loved ones, their means of livelihood, and their homes. The psychological trauma, like I said, inflicted on the survivors, particularly those who have lost family members or witnessed destruction, cannot be overstated. The kidnappings have further excavated the situation, with the families anxiously waiting for the return of their loved ones. The House is thereby resolved to urge the federal government and relevant security agencies to immediately deploy additional security personnel to Bakure and Jafira constituency to protect the lives and properties of the residents. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to commend my governor, the Katsina State Governor, under the scheme of community watch which he established. The governor is doing his utmost best, but he needs to be supported by the federal government, Mr. Speaker. Okay. Relief and support. Direct the National Emergency Management Agency and other relevant bodies to provide immediate relief materials to the affected communities, including food, shelter, and medical assistance. Mandate a thorough investigation into the attacks to bring the perpetrators to justice and prevent further occurrences under the relevant committees of the House. Communities will initiate programs to support the rehabilitation and resettlement of displaced persons, including psychological support for trauma victims. 5, I minute silence in honor of the deceased. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Bansi, the House, please.
I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
The question, any contribution to this? Yes, let's hear you.
Mr. Speaker, I stand this morning to contribute on this motion, security-related motion, issues that has been disturbing us day by day. Mr. Speaker, it is the same scenario, the same narration, and the same situation everywhere. My constituent has been suffering for the activities of bandit, the operation of bandit, and yet nothing changed. Mr. Speaker, so many times when we stand up in this hollow chamber to speak about insecurity and happenings in our constituent, it appears the service chiefs as if they are not understanding the feeling of Nigerians. Mr. Speaker, no blessing night or day that operation is not happening in my constituent. We have been saying this, we have been repeating ourselves. We want to see the action from the security agencies. Mr. Speaker, the truth is that this parliament is the only institution that Nigerians are looking off for every situation that they found themselves. Mr. Speaker, this issue of security, it is now a time that this hollow chamber shall invite security agencies on a thorough questioning, because the activities of those service chiefs, Mr. Speaker, we have not been seeing result. No operation, no concern, and nothing. Mr. Speaker, this chamber should invite security chiefs once more for thorough questioning on what they have promised us, because what they have promised when they visited this chamber, nothing they have done. Mr. Speaker, I want to urge this honorable House to consider inviting service chiefs. What they have promised, they have not fulfilled their promise, because they have not done everything and they have no intention to do anything. It is higher time to call them to order, or to either call for Mr. President to think for reshufflement of those security services. Mr. Speaker, that's my contribution. I have no much more to say than those security services, they are not doing what they're supposed to do to resolve the security situation in this our country. Mr. Speaker, we are in trouble. We have been saying and we keep saying, because we cannot keep quiet. This is what people have sent us to do. This is what we are going to keep doing for them. We are not keep quiet because our people have been killed daily. Thank you very much.
Former Deputy Speaker of this great chamber.
This matter, though under his constituency, but like the last speaker did mention, sir, this is a matter that is virtually everywhere. North Central, Northeast, Northwest, today are the most bedeviled and most suffering part as far as kidnapping and banditry is concerned. And I want to appeal to my colleagues to take a new dimension. Maybe what do we do to sort out this matter? Just a few weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, about 40 people were killed in one community from my locality by the actions of bandits. How did it happen? Of course, I will commend first the security agencies. They have been there for close to 2 or 3 years now, stationed men of the State Security Service, the Nigerian Army, but the versatility of that in terms of the versatile nature of the land, the wideness is too large. It's too large. Nigeria have a very large expanse of land, and to manage is something that is very, very difficult. I want to say that my community is bordered with Taraba, close to Gombe and Bauchi. And from the location of where the security agencies are to where the last incident happened is more than 40 kilometers. Where you don't have infrastructure that will lead you and give you easy access, you know for sure, no matter the men you put there may not be sufficient. I'm appealing to the Parliament to look into this matter deeply. And I appreciate their activity, the security forces and the armed forces, but then the result is not yielding in some areas. And what really happened, like I did mention in my committee, it was a kind of a backlash. After an operation was done on the bandits, as the operatives officers were leaving or left, what happened next was that the bandits now came back and attacked the community. And because the communication system too is too poor, there couldn't have been any rescue. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I think we should go beyond rising every day to pray, say 1 minute's prayer in honor of those that we lost. We should care. And the primary aim of any government is to secure life and property. This is the first thing. And I think we need to do a lot. Doing a lot means what was done last week is one of the best sensitization done in terms of local government reforms. If you do not have these local government reforms done properly and act aptly, because why? This is where the closing of the government is. Unfortunately, money that is supposed to be deployed for the local government are taken away by the governors. We all know this. Some of the governors, if I can use the word, because I remember seeing some statement from Sorolu saying that he allows his own system to work. But I can tell you 80% of the states don't allow local government to function. Until they function properly, we cannot solve this matter. It's not about creating state police. Some of us are apprehensive when you talk about state police because of the impunity of some of them that are likely to give. I want to appeal that as the way forward, we should identify all those vulnerable areas, including the border areas, and make sure a thorough assessment is done, and then come out with a solution. That solution may be including stationing permanent, closing our borders in terms of accessibility to some of these banditry activities. Even in the state activity, until such is done, we may come in here every day to mention one motion or the other. And I'm calling for an ad hoc committee that can serve on this, or the ad hoc committee could be committee on security, police, Nigerian Army, the Navy, or on the alternative, another committee that could be set up to look into this matter. I will tell you, sir, one of the problem that we're able to solve, because when this thing started some years ago, I brought up a motion. Honorable Fulata did a very thorough job. And it's that thorough job that he did that we were able to save lives. Otherwise, I will tell you for sure, we'll have been wiped out, my community will have been wiped out, and maybe more than 50% of Plateau State will be wiped out. I think we need a thorough job of this kind that can help us sort out the matter. I want to appeal and thank you and appreciate this moment, and that we should also include in the areas where to deploy services of the security. I'm appealing that I'm amending the motion to include Bangalore in Wasiloko government area of Plateau State. Thank you very much, sir.
From that region becomes hampered. That we deploy more security presence around areas of trade and commerce to buffer and encourage residents who defy such threats from non-state actors and come to trade and ensure that their life and properties are being protected. I say this in addition to also supporting non-kinetic approach, such as those being driven by the Deputy Speaker himself and all members from this House, and especially the Southeast, wherein we deploy non-kinetic approach and political approach, as it were, depending on the situation and the case, to ensure results are achieved. Secondly and lastly, I would contribute also that we are aware that over the years, critical security centers like police stations and police and security infrastructure have been touched or burnt down or destroyed by non-state actors, leaving those areas which ordinarily ought to be policed vacant and open to further invasion and intimidation of the people who now move in fear of terror. I suggest that this House do also resolve, as part of our resolution, to mandate the necessary security agencies like the police and the ministry to make the necessary appropriation or budgetary provision to repair this destroyed infrastructure, so that those gaps which have now widened and have become places where these non-state actors actually now reside become reclaimed, reconstructed, and reinforced to add to the security architecture overall. I want to appreciate Mr. President and the security team for doing an impressive work, because over the last few years, I want to observe that security has improved, because if we also point out where there are improvements, then it will lead for better improvement of the security architecture. Thank you, Honorable.
Yeah, police in their budget to include repair
reconstruction,
of all the reconstruction of all the broken police stations.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
All right, so we'll put it down as one of the amendments. When the time comes, we'll vote on it.
Okay, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you, Honorable Jaha.
Thank you.
And then after that, I will come here.
Mr. Speaker, while commending the previous speaker, Honorable Princess Miriam, for recognizing that Southeast constitute an industrialized part of this country, I want us to know that most of these industries have their input from either mining or agriculture, which is more or less not possible today in this country. Sir, we should tell each other the truth. When there was an insecurity in the Northeast between 2010 to 2020, there was no hunger in the country. Most of the industries get their inputs, particularly from the agro-allied industries and mining. When bandits or so-called Boko Haram or criminals realize that it's better for them to promote hunger than for them to constitute insecurity to a location, they expanded their operations beyond Northeast to affect Northwest and North Central. And we are all aware, these three zones, whether you like it or not, contributes more than 80% of what is consumed in this country and what is being imputed in various industries in this country to produce. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, complacency is not the right thing. Rome or Roman Empire used to be the greatest empire in the world, but it was destroyed by the complacency of the Romans. There is nothing wrong. Since you are facing insurgency, you are facing external aggression, to invite anybody that can come in and assist you to provide even temporary solution to what is happening, so that the long-term solution can be provided gradually. Sir, I said it the other time, I want to repeat it. I am commending the effort of our security chiefs. I am commending the effort of our gallant military and other agents of coercion. They are doing their best. But I want us to know that they equally need a helping hand. Most countries of the world, if they are in war, they invite mercenaries. They recruit mercenaries to assist them. Nigeria is not as powerful as Ukraine. Nigeria is not as powerful and advanced as Russia, but they still bring mercenaries to help them, to assist them in facing their own enemies in the battle lines. So, sir, to me, there is nothing wrong if we can bring in mercenaries because we attempted doing it in the past and it worked until when they were removed in this country. So there is a need to sit down with the security chiefs and discuss the idea of bringing in mercenaries to clear our land of insecurity. If not, the hunger we faced from the beginning of this year for next year is going to be worse, because you have to look at their strategy. Now they are trying to stop people from going to farms, especially in the northeast, in the northwest, and the north central. They know if they do that, the whole country will be in hunger and there will be agitation. People can take weapons against government. We shouldn't take it lightly. You should understand this. We had issues of hunger in January, February, and March. And we will have worse if we didn't stop these people from preventing people to go to farmlands and cultivate their farms. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, on the floor of this House, we have been passing resolutions, reaching consensus on security issues. But we have not been seeing practical results, even in a dyadic encounter or an executive session. We deserve to know the truth because we represent our people. We are here to speak and on behalf of our people. So we are the first people that should know. Democracy emanated in the ancient Greek city-states, sir. And people gather in a marketplace to sit down and discuss the affairs of their state. And now it's constituency. You represent Bende, I represent Chibok Damboa Federal Constituency. People of Bende deserve to know the truth from you, and people of Chibok Damboa Goza deserve to know the truth from me. And I can only know that if and only if I've been communicated effectively. Right. For that matter, this is where I want to make my contribution. I urge us to at least look at the alternative of bringing in mercenaries to assist our existing military and other agents of coercion on ground to end insecurity in the country. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker, you know I don't talk much. And when it comes to security, you know my resume. I served and I retired from military in the US. And I came back to Nigeria and I joined politics. So I'm here today. So when it comes to security, I think when I speak, it's very important that you listen to my own point. And thank you for giving me this chance. 7 assembly, 9 assembly, 7 assembly, 8 assembly, 9 assembly, 10 assembly. We've been talking about insecurity in this country. And it's unfair to Nigerians about we, parliamentary branch of government, executive branch of government, that so far we have not got anything done on this security. And it will be unfair to all our security agencies that we are keep on talking about, they are not performing their job. So I have a 4 points that I want to discuss with you briefly. Number 1, our population in this country is over 200 million. And when you add all the security agencies together in our country, they are not even up to 10%. So basically what I'm trying to say is that we should find a way to make sure that we allow them, we give them the approval to increase the capacity of our security agency in Nigeria. Besides, we have so many unemployment in this country. That's number 1. Number 2, we keep on talking about insecurity. What about these people? They have family. They are human beings like us. What do we do with their welfare capacity? I was the first one that moved the motion in the assembly about the welfare of our security agency in this country. Mr. Speaker, when I was in the US, I signed the document. If I did not come back from the war, $400,000 will go to my family. Then the branch that belongs to US Navy, another $150,000. That makes it $550,000 to come to Nigeria to my family. Do we have anything like that for our people? Because when they go out there, Mr. Speaker, it's a 50% of coming back home. What do we do? What happened to their family? Who assists their family if they did not come back? So we need to be real. We need to be fat in this country. Number 3, Mr. Speaker. We are talking about this, our agency, our security agency, to go and meet all these bandits, all these kidnappers. What day do we even see their equipment? Do they update their equipment? They are still carrying AK-47 that was produced maybe about 40-30 years ago. When you go to an advanced country, you will see the new model of equipment they are using to go and face all these bandits, all these Boko Haram, whatever you might mean. Even the insecurity is not just northeast, it's not just northeast, it's everywhere in Nigeria today. So what do we have? Do we have latest that all our security agencies are asking for? We don't have it because I was a part of security agency committee in National Assembly. So I was frustrated. You cannot see me in any security committee this time around because everything that we say in National Assembly, nothing gets done at all. So let's just be sincere to ourselves in this country.
Well done. Nice point raised and well noted. And some of them should also come by way of amendment to that prayer. Well done. Straight to the point with the issues captured. These are real issues. Let me yield the applause to Honorable Salam. After that, the minority leader.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to draw a small analogy. When a problem, when an issue affects the health of an individual and he goes to a health center to see a medical doctor, the doctor asks a lot of questions and makes diagnosis. Because in most cases, when we look at the manifestation of an illness, without probing further into the root cause of the illness, we may make a wrong prescription. And so I want to just quickly say that, Mr. Speaker, there is a very direct correlation between insecurity and poverty. There's a direct correlation between insecurity and unemployment. There's a direct correlation between insecurity and education. These are established facts. And that is the reason why, if you look at the areas most prone to insecurity today in Nigeria, and you compare them with the statistics on the degree or percentage of poverty established by world bodies, you will discover that the places most affected by insecurity today in Nigeria are the poorest part of Nigeria. They are the least educated part of Nigeria. Fact. I'm not picking up figures on my head. By UNICEF, by WHO, by all world organizations. In other words, the problems we are seeing today are as a result of seeds that we have sown or refused to sow 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. And so it is good we are addressing the effect. We are addressing the physical manifestation. But sir, we need to go back to the roots. There is a saying that the man who opens the door of a school closes the door to a prison. Mr. Speaker, if we have 17.5 million children out of school in Nigeria, it will be very strange for us to expect that there will be any other result rather than the result we're having today.
My dear colleagues, I will start by saying that though tongues and tribe may differ, though political parties and religion may differ, one area that we have agreed in this House, united together, is the issue of insecurity. We have all agreed from all the contributions that something need be done and need to be done urgently. I will say that I have not seen any parliament today that discusses the issue of insecurity as much as we do, which is a clear sign that we are concerned and that we are worried. You will also recall that in the past we have agreed that all the resolutions of this House that has to do with insecurity should be collated and then an action be taken on these resolutions. We are yet to do this. Again, let me quickly say that we should look at the cause of insecurity which our colleagues here have highlighted. And then perhaps dedicate a day, sir, a particular day set aside for us to discuss this issue of insecurity and arrive at resolutions. Because of the activities of this morning, I would not want to take more time on this issue than to say that I fully support all the contributions and ask that we take a day for us to discuss this issue of insecurity on the floor of this House and perhaps declare or urge the executive arm to declare an emergency on insecurity.
We have handled the issues comprehensively. If we allow all members to speak, everyone here has gotten something to talk about. And I would suggest, just like the minority leader pointed out, we choose a date to handle only the issue of insecurity and the way forward. Right now, we are going to vote on the amendments presented before the House. The first amendment was the one moved by Right Honorable Idris Wase, that his constituency be added to the prayer. Any seconder to that motion? Yes, Deputy Chairman Ami.
I rise this morning to second the amendment as moved by the former Deputy Speaker. I say second.
The second amendment is for leadership to meet with the President and discuss this further. This was moved by the Deputy Majority Leader of the House. Any seconder to this?
I rise this morning to second the amendment ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this amendment say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The third amendment is for us to allow the police to appropriate funds for the reconstruction of the destroyed infrastructure by the non-state actors, like the police stations. And this was moved by Honorable Miriam Onoha. Any seconder to this motion?
I rise to second the motion moved by my colleague, Honorable Miriam. I so second.
Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The fourth amendment, which I don't know if Honorable Jaha is standing by, it is that we allow mercenaries. The security agency should allow mercenaries to come in to help the security situation in the country. That is the amendment that he moved. Are you standing by that amendment? Any seconder to that amendment? Yes, sir.
I want to second the amendment made by Right Honorable Jaha. I so second.
I'm writing under order H6, that's personal explanation. Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to the House that we don't just get carried away with this euphoria and not the way we are so pained about the security situation. At the same time, some things that are of security concern, which perhaps even if they are to be implemented, but should not be in the so declared in the public sphere. I would not imagine this House of Parliament talking about mercenary on the floor of this House and so publicly. So I want to appeal that we allow the relevant committees that are concerned with the security and that of our leadership to handle that aspect rather than giving such approval on the floor of the House here. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, this is my honest suggestion, and I'm sure that the House will want to take that. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I come under 806 on the personal explanation. Mr. Speaker, I don't know if I can about the Honorable Jara talking about mercenary. I want the House to know that we have a lot of brave personnel that we have in this country. If you notice that when the president came to power, we have 37 corps, 38 corps, 39 corps that were sent back home, automatically retired them because of the way they picked the service chief. We have brave Air Force Marshal, we have brave Brigadier General, we have brave Admiral that they can handle insecurity of this country. Asking the other country to send us the machinery, to me, as the ex-military, and to Nigerians of what we call giant of Africa today, is like insult. I think we can do by setting up a committee to invite all these retirement young Air Force Marshal, young Major General, young Brigadier General, and bring them together, and they can work with the service chief, they can work with all our security agents in this country, and we can get this job done. I just want the country to know that one. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We're on the 4th Amendment, and my point of order has come that it should not be in the public discussion of whether or not we are going that route. And on the basis of that, we sustain that point of order. Today is joint sitting, and I'm sure the senators are hanging around. Once we get notification from the clerk, we'll ask the leader to move a motion to admit them. But for now, I want to ask if Honorable Jaha will want to step down that amendment motion in view of the last point of order.
He said we don't have enough personnel to provide security for 200 million Nigerians. Am I right? He said we don't have the required equipment to fight the war. Am I right? He said we don't have the required stimulants, in other words, welfare, to encourage our security personnel to fight the war. If you don't have that, there is nothing wrong in recruiting. A recruitment can come either from within or from outside. Army strength of Ukraine and Russia is better than that of Nigeria, but they still invite mercenaries to come with their personnel, with their equipment, and whatever you can think of to assist them and end the war they are facing. So this is the only thing I'm asking. I am not saying the security chiefs or service chiefs are not performing. Yes, they are doing their best, but what I am saying is, in as much as we have this war for almost 2 decades today, and we spend more than 19 trillion naira on it, and in the past, during Jonathan Goodluck, there was mercenaries and they were performing before they were removed. There is nothing wrong in bringing them back.
This country at once, Nigeria, at once engaged mercenaries. I don't see any controversy in what Honorable Jah suggested. And it is to finding a solution to a raging problem. I don't think that this is supposed to cause a controversy between Honorable Jah and Honorable Abbas. I think, Mr. Speaker, a motion has been moved. It has been seconded. You put it to vote.
No,
and let the House vote.
It's not been
Thank
seconded.
you, Mr. Speaker.
And it's not a battle between Honorable Abbas and Jaha. It's a debate on the floor. It's not personal. You know, we don't do personal debates here. It's an issue on the floor which everybody have the right to contribute to. Please, before I come to you, Honorable Idris, Leke was standing. Leke, let's hear you.
You can see I've been raising up my hands severally because of the dangers embedded in these machineries that we are talking about. Peradventure, you invite these machineries, they come, and they help you solve this problem, as you said. And it happens that they are facing challenges after they go back to their country. They could not survive well, and they are hungry. They will create more insecurity for you because you you are the one that will be feeding them. If it is true that they have appeared here before, then we need to investigate the level of insecurity we are having today. Mercenaries may be the cause of that. What I subscribe to is this adaptation of strategies that Honorable Miriam mentioned. We can use our local hunters. I have in my own area, there's a community called Ifenukoto. They have a squad called Lion Squad. In that environment, there is no kidnapping that can take place that these people will not get them. They understand the terrain. We agreed that what we are fighting is asymmetric war. It's not a normal war that you can invite mercenary that you are comparing to Ukraine and the other country. These are war that is not known to the system. So please, inviting mercenaries will create more insecurity for us in the future. Because if those people too are having problem with us, the same country, having problem with Nigeria, then who are we going to invite? Who are we going to invite to come and help us solve the problem? Right, so let us look inward to solve our own problem. Thank you so much.
But you will speak later, Chairman Defense. Let me hear my predecessor, the Right Honorable Idris Wase.
Mr. Speaker, just a quick reminder that when Honorable Abbas brought up some issues, you did rule as order sustained. And I still want to bring to your attention and the attention of the House, these are matters of strategy. You don't discuss, like it is being canvassed and said, issues of security strategy on the floor of the House. No parliament does that. And we shall be in the open, and we shall be now doing the service. Whether we're going to have it or not have it, this is a matter for the room discussion. If we are in executive session, this matter could be discussed thoroughly. I want to beg my colleagues who have input to give, to allow for that day that was canvassed by my brother, minority leader of the House, so that we can have a very debate whether executive or, and now if we are going to go into this aspect, I will call executive. Your Excellency, I want to beg that we need to restrain our emotions so that we don't lose the thing as to what we want to achieve. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Isiaka, on relying on 8 sub 6. That order was sustained. And to that extent, conversations around this issue was, by the move of the gavel, suspended. So that was why I called Honorable Jaha to reconsider stepping down his motion before other people showed interest to discuss this issue. I'm in agreement with the Right Honorable Idris Wase that issues of strategy, security strategy, should not be thrown to the open. Executive section, maybe yes, it is to the exclusive reserve of the security experts to handle. So, I throw the question back to Honorable Jaha. Are you willing to step down this motion before I ask the question?
No. It's okay, sir. I'm a Jaha Baba, once again, Chief of Damboa Federal Constituency. Since it's the opinion of the leadership, including former leadership, in an executive session, whenever and wherever the need arises, I step down for the first time. I step down this motion.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And also watching the mood of the House. It's all for good, so that we can get the things done and well done. So, motion for amendment by Honorable Jaha, step down by the leave of the House. So, a 5th amendment motion, which Honorable Abbas subscribed to, and that was to increase the recruitment of more security agents. I don't think issues like welfare, update equipment, and community policing should come under this amendment. Do we limit your amendment to asking that the security agencies be given waiver based on the fact that we are about 230 million, and like you said, all the security agencies put together, they are not enough in line with global best practices to police and to defend Nigeria. Are you standing by that motion for amendment?
Yes, I concur with you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And this should be budgeted for, and this should be supported by all and sundry. Any seconder to that? Yes, my brother.
I rise to second the amendment heavily moved by Honorable Abbas Odimo. I so second.
Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of the motion as amended say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to Committee on Army, Police, Defense, National Security and Intelligence, and House Committee on Disaster Management. NEMA. The next business of the day is the admittance into the chamber. Honorable colleagues, this will come by way of a motion on admittance into the chamber. The President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Vice President, former heads of state, the President of the Senate, Senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Presidents of the Senate, former Senators, former Speakers, former Members, former Clerks of the National Assembly, Ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, management staff of the National Assembly, government officials and other dignitaries to commemorate the 25th year of unbroken democracy, unbroken legislature. This is standing in the name of the House Leader. The Leader is invited to move that they be so admitted. Leader, please.
I rise to move admittance into the chamber that the House, pursuant to Order 6, Rule 4, Sub 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, and 9 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, do admit into the chamber the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Vice President, former heads of state, the President of the Senate, Senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Presidents of the Senate, former Senators, former Speakers, former Members, former Clerks to the National Assembly, Ministers, management staff of the National Assembly, government officials, and other dignitaries to commemorate 25 years of unbroken democracy and legislature. I so move.
I rise to second the motion as moved by the House Leader under Order 6, Rule 4, that we allow non-members of the House of Reps admission into the chambers. I so second.
Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader, Chief Whip, please approach the chair. Seeing that today is a special day in the history of Nigeria, quite special, because many didn't believe that back to back we will get our democracy advance to this stage of clocking 25 years of unbroken democracy. A cause for celebration. While we wait the senators to join us and the executive to join us, having moved the motion, we're going to open the floor for members to say something about our democracy while we wait for them. 2 minutes of contribution of how far we have fared as democracy, knowing that we are the fulcrum of our democracy. We must have a say. Some of you may not be able to say something when the president is here, but the cameras are here and Nigerians are listening. We want to see how much you believe in this democracy and what you think we have achieved so far. And they need encouragement from you to keep believing in this democracy. So I'll ask the leader of the House to open up this conversation in 2 minutes. And then there are other leaders here who will say something. If you don't indicate your interest, I might call you, even if you fail to indicate. So prepare your mind on what you say to Nigerians about our democracy while we wait for Mr. President and the senators who has been formally admitted by our rules. Leader, please.
25 years of unbroken democracy is definitely something to celebrate. Like the police normally put in their station, if you hate the police or you don't like the police, try talks and see the difference. If you think the democracy is not perfect, it is not the one you were dreaming about, it is not what we expect to be, get a taste of authoritarianism, dictatorship, and fascism, and you will know that what we have is setting a road path to a better society. Certainly it could be better, but we are thankful that we have this. 25 years has given the legislature an opportunity to grow, to set a tradition, to build history and build leadership, and provide a fertile training ground for training young Nigerians as legislators so that they can contribute while here and outside to the growth and development of this country. Mr. Speaker, many years ago, one Robert S. Kaplan, writing in The Atlantic, wrote an article called The Coming Anarchy. And I think he wrote a couple of other articles after that, giving Nigeria's democracy less than 10 years to survive. I think we have disappointed him, and we have also disappointed other enemies of doom, so to put it. Our democracy is growing, is getting stronger. There are things we still need to do. We need to expand the political space. We need to consolidate our institutions. We need to build accountability and inclusion in the political parties. We need to create more room for women and for young people to enjoy the benefits of democracy. We need to ensure that our democracy strengthens us enough to punish impunity, corruption, and political rascality at whatever level it comes. We've been discussing how to strengthen local governance. This is a task that must be done, and we can only do it under a democratic system like we have. Mr. Speaker, there's a lot to say that is good about democracy. There is very little to say about democracy that is not working. But with time, I am sure we will move from just democracy to democratization, which is the level where you consolidate the institutions, structures, and processes of democracy and begin to put the people and their institutions, communities, on the driver's seat to determine who governs them, how they are governed, and why they are governed. We are making good progress, and I think that we should continue to work hard at it, and I'm sure that these dividends of democracy that we always dream about will become a routine issue. Finally, Mr. Speaker, as we also discuss the issue of constitution amendment, you can only talk constitutional amendment of constitutions under a democratic system. We should also remember that we have a challenge in there, which is not just to bring in the constitution of the people, but also to begin to think about building, encouraging, expanding the culture of constitutionalism. That is a level where the people themselves own the constitution and deploy it to defend their individual and collective rights. But to do that, they have to know what the constitution is about. And I think that Deputy Speaker is laying the foundation of carrying every Nigerian along as much as possible. And we should not be afraid of comparative studies of what is going on in other climes, particularly in Africa and the developing world, so that we can enrich the dynamics of our own political processes. I want to congratulate us, congratulate Nigerians, congratulate the leaders of this country on how far we have fared. And I want to pray that they get the courage, they acquire that courage to do things better to benefit the entire country. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
And I'm so impressed with how you ended that speech, congratulating members of this House, congratulating Nigeria. It calls for congratulation that we have gone from first year to 25th year, back to back. And this fulcrum of democracy has been there, ensuring that the democratic ethos and principles are well sustained from one administration to the other. A great thank you to Nigerians. I want to invite the Right Honorable Minority Leader of the House to lend his voice to this conversation.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, truly it's a thing of pride to our country that we have sustained this democratic ethos for 25 years back to back. Like the House Leader rightly said, and the Deputy Speaker also affirmed that, several persons had expected that Nigeria will not survive up to today. We have had prophecies that the country was likely not to survive some of our elections. But here we are. Here we are as servants in the temple of democracy, working hard, worshiping, praying, and getting answers to some of our prayers. I will again take us to the elementary issue of what Abraham Lincoln described democracy as government of the people, for the people, and by the people. And that's why we are here as elected representatives of the people. But we should continue to ask ourselves the simple question. Yes, we are elected by the people. Our performance so far in the last 25 years has it been for the people and in the interest of the people? That I will leave us to search our conscience. Again, some of the tenets of democracy includes the existence of periodic election, equal rights, press freedom, and of course freedom for the workers of this country. In the past 25 years of unbroken democracy, where are we on all these tenets and quality of democracy in our country today? We still have a long way to go. There are several things that we have left unfulfilled. There are several areas that we need to fill the gap. And I believe that as a house of the people, this is a period for us to sit back, reminiscence where we are coming from, where we are today, and where we ought to be, and begin to do those things which we ought to do as Democrats. Firstly, Nigerian workers are at the verge of going on strike a few days from today. And I recall that as a parliament, we had taken a decision to take steps to stem that. That is democracy in action for you. And I pray that we be more proactive to ensure that we, as members of these green chambers, that will be fundamental and instrumental to ensuring that that strike does not hold, so that we'll be practicing democracy and let it be democracy in action for Nigerians. And then the issues of security and insecurity that is besieging our country. We have discussed it this morning, but we cannot run away from it. In a democratic setting, we believe that people should be happier, people should be people should trust the government of the day better, and because these things are lacking, we see signs of insecurity. And so we need to better some of these areas. In all, I will join the House leader in congratulating Nigeria at 25, unbroken democratic practice, but I will also say that we have a long way to go. There are so many things that we, as Democrats seated here, ought to do which we have left undone. And I pray that going forward, as we sit in our chambers, particularly in the executive session that we have agreed to hold, that we discuss these issues and take steps to ensure that we strengthen democracy. We want to witness the 50th anniversary, the 100 years anniversary of democracy in this country unbroken. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my dear colleagues.
By the great Abraham Lincoln that he just quoted. Let me buttress where that particular comment was made. They call it the Gettysburg Address. This is what the President Abraham Lincoln said. The Gettysburg Address, November 1863, Pennsylvania, delivered by President Abraham Lincoln. 70 years ago, our forefathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that this nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground, the brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or distract. The world will little note, no longer remember what we say here, but they can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from this honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. These were the words of that great man we always cite when we wish to define democracy. And his last prayer was that this democracy shall not perish from the earth. We have clocked 25. It is our wish to be 50, to be 100. Once again, Nigerians, congratulations. Let me hear from Honorable Sarah Solly.
Especially the opportunities it has granted to this country over 25 years. One, it has provided citizens a process to participate in the political process of a country without hindrance. Secondly, it has provided individuals freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Freedom, it has guaranteed civil liberties where people have freedom of religion, freedom of association, freedom of assembly, which were not there. The society, the citizens could not have enjoyed that without democracy. There is the issue of accountability. The people holds people in governance accountable, and it is their duty to present themselves before the people that elected them to account for their stewardship.
We're celebrating 25 years of independence, 25 years of unbroken democratic system. And for me, this celebration is coming to me with so much mixed feelings, because Nigerians are all watching us. Nigerians are listening to us. Those people we are representing are listening to us. How much of this democracy, unbroken democracy that we are celebrating today, how has it translated to, unbroken food security? How has it transformed into unbroken security in the nation? How has it transformed into unbroken access to education, access to healthcare? And we're talking about celebration of democracy. The democracy is government of the people, for the people, by the people. And it should actually change the lives of our people. We are representing our people. Our people are hungry back home. For me, to be honest with you, Mr. Speaker, there is nothing to celebrate.
Oh, you are saying we should not celebrate
we should
democracy?
be looking at celebrating food security. We should be looking at celebrating access to health care. So we should be looking at celebrating. There are a lot of things to celebrate. We know that we have had unbroken. Excuse me, please. I need to be protected. I need to be protected, Mr. Speaker.
You are protected, but democracy is what is protecting you.
So
democracy has given you that place you are standing.
We have on this floor.
To be a parliamentarian, it was democracy that gave you that platform. Are you saying you are not celebrating it?
How has it impacted? We need it to move a step further. We need it to move a step further. If I am here and it has brought me here, how has it impacted my own people? That's what I'm talking about, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
So please,
thank you.
We are celebrating, I am celebrating, but we should be
okay, you are celebrating it now.
Implement what we have been doing here.
Okay, thank you. So you are celebrating it now.
Thank you.
That's the last words countered her first word, because democracy gave her the platform to be able to address this issue. And to say she is not celebrating it is what's bothered her. The Senate President, you proceed straight to your chair. The President of the Senate and the Speaker proceed straight to your chair.
How are you?
By our rules, once the Senate President is standing, every other member must sit down and it must be held in silence. So just to give you the ground norm, the rules that apply to this brief sitting. The President, Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The June 12th is supposed to be the real democracy day, not May 29th. It was an error from us, and Mr. President has acknowledged our shortcomings in that regard and advised that whatever ceremony we are going to have, whatever speeches we are going to have, should be reserved for June 12th. That will be the day that we will all convey to actually celebrate democracy. So, honorable colleagues and distinguished senators, forgive us for such this lapse. Inshallah, by June 12th, all that we have to say about our 25 years of unbroken democracy will come to pass. I want to also especially thank you all for the role you played in ensuring that the National Anthem Act bill was judiciously and expeditiously passed by both the Senate and the House. And as the Senate President has just mentioned, Mr. President has assented to that particular bill. It is now an act. And his presence here today will be largely to symbolize the commencement of the use of the new national anthem. And after that, I believe we'll adjourn, and the Senate President and myself, and of course some of you who have been invited for the next phase of the commissioning taking place today, will proceed to accompany Mr. President to the railway station where he will commission the light railway for Abuja metropolis. Thank you so much for being patient with us. Thank you so much for your support. May God Almighty bless us all. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, the Vice President from the Chairman of the largest party in Africa, earlier introduced, His Excellency Ganduje, National Working Committee members of the Great Party, the APC, the Governor of Borno State, the Chief of Staff, Principal Officers of both chambers, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Senator, Senator Akume, former speakers, starting with our sister Patricia Ite, former deputy speakers, former leaders of National Assembly, all our colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, this is your National Assembly. The senators and members have asked me to congratulate you on your first anniversary since your swearing in in office. Congratulations. Before you came, myself and my brother Tajuddin Abbas explained the purpose of this visit. That this is what we call in Nollywood, Waka Pass. You intend to celebrate Democracy Day, which is June 12th. But out of honor and respect for the National Assembly, you said you must pass through the National Assembly on your first anniversary in office. Of all the significant things you have done, I think one of the most profound is to take us back to our genealogy, the genealogy of our birth. That though we may belong to different tribes, though we may have different tongues, in brotherhood we all stand. Henceforth, we will not refer to ourselves as just mere compatriots. We will refer to ourselves as brothers. And as we go forth in battle, whether on the field of sports, in the field of politics, in economic endeavors, we must hail Nigeria. And so we are all saying today, Mr. President, Nigeria, we hail thee. There is no better place to commence this revolution of going back to our genealogy than the National Assembly, made of very patriotic, not just representatives, but elected representatives of the people of Nigeria. The voice of the National Assembly is the voice of Nigeria. So we welcome you. On that note, sir, we will allow you to greet your people because of your crowded schedule today, and we look forward to celebrating Democracy Day on June 12th with you. You just greet us. You may say a word, you may wave, you may stand up and take a bow, because this is the chambers. However you do it, and thereafter, we will allow you to take your exit while we continue with our proceedings. Welcome, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. This institution, the Hallowed Chamber, represents our consciousness for freedom and sense of belonging. You rang out the latest national anthem. Nigeria will hear thee. See, this is our diversity. Representing all characters. And how we blend together to be brothers and sisters. Without this house, probably I may not find a path to the presidency. I started all from there. And that is why I'm giving that respect this morning to you. So please continue to collaborate, work together, build our country. We have no other choice. It is our nation. No one, no age, no other institution or personality will help us except we do it ourselves. No amount of aid that may be coming from foreign countries or any other nation. They take care of themselves first. Let us work together, as we are doing, to build our nation. Not only for us, but for generations yet unborn. Charting a new path. The question of program for development. I have submitted the last budget. You expeditiously passed it. We are working to talk. I will soon bring year 2024 appropriation bill. That is just for your information. But we must nourish this democracy, build this nation, so that the future of our great grandchildren will be sure of prosperity, development, and progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will be expecting the supplementary appropriation bill of 2024 as soon as possible. On that note, Mr. President, to enable you to pass, I want to invite my brother, Right Honorable Tajir Abbas, the Speaker, House of Representatives, to say thank you to you.
Our Father, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our dear brother, Honorable Kashim Shettima, Your Excellency, the Senate President, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol already established. My own is just to say a big thank you to our dear leader, who has been very supportive of the National Assembly over the last 1 year. A true Democrat who has seen it all, a former governor, a former senator, a leader of the party, and now the president. I want you to know, Your Excellency, that we in the National Assembly are very, very happy with your report card, with your performance so far. The National Assembly is very, very thankful for the partnership that has existed within the last 1 year between you and us here. It has been a partnership that has been mutually beneficial to all of us. It is a win-win, and that is how democracy is supposed to be played. We want to thank you for finding time to come here in spite of your tight schedules, and to assure you as well that the National Assembly will always be supportive of your noble objectives. We will always be there to support you, to partner with you, and to collaborate with you. We want to thank you for bringing back our national anthem, the one that we grew up with. I'm talking about those of us who are above 50. And for the young ones, I'm sure by the time you sit down, read it line by line, word by word, you will see why it is very, very important for Nigeria to revisit its former national anthem. Because it inspires hope. It inspires hope. Thank you so much, sir. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
under the table. The charger. The charger. The charger. So it's a thank you.
Please, please. What is this now? Why did you push me?
And that's the size of this episode of the program. I hope you are getting familiar with the lyrics and the tune of the national anthem, Nigeria, We Hail Thee. Till we come your way again for another episode of the program, I am Mitaire Ikben saying stay patriotic and bye for now.